Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. 67K is incoming on this stream, pretty much guaranteed, and Bitcoin shorts are going to get their faces ripped off, just like the people that went short MicroStrategy. Anyway, what a time to be alive. Thank you all for coming. It's Tuesday, and I'm here, and I got my shirt mixed up. That's how busy I am today. But hey, you guys will forgive me. Let's jump in. We're going to talk about dominance. We're going to talk about volatility. We're going to talk about crushing assets that are killing everything else, and let's get into it. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Sean Donnelly, as well, and TD Tesla and K8 for being here. And disclaimer, I'm just a guy on the internet. What do I know? And shout out to everybody on Patreon to make this all possible, make me build the best team in the world behind me. Hi, James, love your Patreon. Thank you, Jamie, for being part of the family. Now, we're always going to start with the ugly news. So brace yourselves, and then we do the bad news, and then we get to the good news. And we have lots of good news today. But first of all, the big unlocks this week. We're going to talk about a couple of them. Arbitrum, another 2.65%. Eigen, a big one, 6% there. Avalanche, tiny, 0.17%. Not too worried about that. Cardano's on the list. Woohoo. ApeCoin, that just rains down tokens all the time, so just ignore that crap. Sui, tiny one, 0.17%. Prime, whatever that is. BGB, it's new. And Ethena, 0.5%. And Meme is there. And Wormhole is there too, at about 0.5% as well. Jito, 1.25%. They're the big ones to look out for this week. But we are in a bull market. The markets are rallying. But let's get to more of the ugly news. This is one of the important things that I do want to stress is, and shout out to all the Canadians. The Canadians are the most lovely people on the planet. Of course, everybody's lovely on the planet, but the Canadians are extra special, extra kind, extra sweet. But this chart is alarming, and it shows you one thing, that leadership matters. There are elections happening all over the world. When you put a clown in office, it destroys the output of the country. This chart shows you real GDP per capita of Canada versus the US. And never before in history has there been such a historic gap in GDP per capita. Leadership matters. Canada has gone nowhere fast since this guy was elected. I won't even mention his name. And yeah, this is what happens when you put a moron in control. All right? Go woke, go broke, whatever you want to put it. And you can interpret that any way you want, but there's a graphic that backs it up, okay? So, leadership matters. That's all I want to say on that. You can interpret it how you want. Shout out to all the Canadians out there, too. Also, and sorry for those grief tidings, let's look at other bad news, too. Governments, they're coming for your gainers. China moves to tax the ultra-rich for overseas investment gains. Tax authorities are summoning wealthy individuals in a rare request because they got no money in the kitty, therefore they go after the rich. This is a trend you're going to see. I'm very good at spotting trends all over the world in the future. Governments will not let their citizens go, especially the ones with the big bags. They're not going to let them run off to Dubai and enjoy their tax-free money there. No. They want to empty those bags before you go. So watch for that, everybody. And the governments are coming for your bag. So anyway. And also some of the states too. So just be careful out there. Also, again, despite narratives, we're still in the ugly section. And despite narratives, you'll hear from people saying, oh, health insurance is going down. No, it's not at all. The average cost of a family's annual health insurance premium is up 7% over the last 12 months. In some cases, like mine, a lot higher due to, and it's the average family has to pay about $26,000 a year. And again, consecutive years, it just keeps going up and up and up. What's different this time, though, is the amount that the employer has to contribute is not going up as fast as the worker contribution. So they're nailing the employees for this as well. And a lot of people source their health insurance through their job. Some people actually have jobs just to maintain their health insurance. That's how expensive health insurance is. Again, $26,000 a month for the average family. And CPI inflation for health insurance is up 80% over the last 3.5 years. It's expensive. Watch it. It's not going down either. And anyway, it's mismanaging. We'll see. Anyway, time for the bad news. I love getting the ugly news out of the way because I know it's sad and depressing. Bad news. ETH is in hot water. This is the Ethereum block validator revenue on a monthly basis from into the block. And a couple of things to point out here is you can see the ETH validator revenue has been experiencing a significant decline. And I think there's a few reasons for this. One, the L2s are cannibalizing the L1. Chain usage is falling. The number of daily active users on ETH has gone from 1 million down to 350,000. There's also been discussion around the MEV, where transactions can be reordered or included in blocks for profit, which might not benefit the validators at all, which is a big problem. Also, reduction in fees because of the L2s and the cannibalization. This might not be sufficient to cover the inflation rate of ETH, leading to concerns about the long-term profitability for validators. And some validators are looking for other chains that can make where they can make some money. And thank you, Jimmy Neal, for coming. This is also very unusual mid-bull when other chain adoption is going to the moon and the dead chains are dying fast. Now, I'm pretty sure Vitalik sees all of this stuff, and I'm sure alarm bells are going off in his mind. He made a strategic blunder, which I pointed out at the beginning of the year, to focus on L2s for scaling. That is not the way to do it. And also, the settlement time of 15 minutes is not going to cut it. All right, you want to move money. You want to know if it got there within seconds, not wait 15 minutes if the transaction blundered, or try again and wait another 15 minutes. It's just not going to work. The chain has a lot of issues that we pointed out for a long time. Anyway, also, Japanese equities saw record outflows, historic record outflows. People are ditching their Japanese stocks. And this is at the same time when China is getting record inflows. So obviously a lot of the money in Japan is going into China. And Japan continues to shrivel. And the Bank of Japan is pretty clueless. I don't have many viewers in Japan, but hope they're doing okay. But there is a way out of this mess, and that is Metaplanet. Metaplanet? They are hedging the state of the country with Bitcoin. And Metaplanet is a Tokyo-listed company, and they added another $6.8 million in Bitcoin to its treasury yesterday, bringing its total Bitcoin holdings to 56 million or 855.478 Bitcoin. Woohoo! Shout out to Metaplanet. This is another example of the crazy infinite money glitch. You issue debt, you buy Bitcoin, and your stock goes up. And the world is catching on and everybody's doing it now. It's bonkers. Let's check in on the Bitcoin price. Actually, I did promise a 67K Bitcoin during the stream. It's 66,817. So we got another $200 to go and we should make it. Anyway, all things are good in the hood. Also, time for good news. Woohoo. Let's get into it. First of all, fear and greed is back. Greed is back. We're seeing the highest level of fear and greed in over a month, which is good. Let's check out what Bitcoin did over the last 7 days. Not much. A couple of things beat Bitcoin, like Cardano, Binance, etc., Sui, Aptos, Polkadot. But the rest of the stuff is kind of flat. No great shakes, but there was a big move. And a better way to interpret it is in melting ice cubes. Here you can see the winners over the last week. Aptos, number 1. Surprisingly, Bitcoin Cash was there too, number 2, and Immutable X, number 3, Uniswap, number 4. Everybody's talking about DEXs all of a sudden. DEXs are on fire. We'll get back to that in a minute too. And you can see for the week, Bitcoin price change in dollar terms is up 5.09%. By the way, some of the miners are on fire too. We saw CleanSpark rebound at last, went up 38% in 3 trading days, and the third trading day isn't even over yet. They fly. When people go risk on, certain things really rebound real fast, but they get slaughtered as well in the downturn. And then you see on the bottom right-hand side over the last week, Crypto.com kind of flat, OKB down, and Tau down. Tau was on fire because the AI narrative has been on fire as well over the last 90 days. Let's look at the ETFs. Yesterday, we had the 7th best ETF day ever. They pulled in $551 million. Thank you, Freedom. That is a big chunk of cash. And you can see, the third phase of accumulation, I think, is on right now. A lot of money, with the rate cuts, is going to come in off the sidelines. Nearly $7 trillion is looking for a home. And as we saw from recent studies I covered in my last video, or the one before that, Schwab interviewed their customers. And most of their customers want to put money into crypto ETFs. after equities. I think it was like 55% of people. So crypto and Bitcoin is on the menu in Q4. Also, this is also kind of flabbergasting. 8,344 Bitcoin were eaten by these 9 ETFs. That is 19 times daily issuance. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not sustainable. If that continues at this rate into Q4, things could really happen fast. Hey, Piper up there in Canada, hope all as well. And of course, Thiel and Jed in Sweden, thank you for coming. And Rusty Woods. But this is quite special. A lot of talk now creeping back in about supply crunch. Of course, many of the buyers of this ETF could be speculators. They might be quick in and out. We shall see. Now, let's get into some of the on-chain stuff as well. First of all, thanks to Axel for this. This is kind of the main story today. This looks at the average open interest in Bitcoin on top exchanges, and it's shown very positive momentum over the last quarter. The metric is above annual average levels. This is the aggregate open interest of Bitcoin futures, which is a bullish sign. Last time we had this green level, that was during C19, and we know what happened after C19. Things went to the moon. We are right back at this stage now. The question is, will that black line go to the moon? Because it's been flatlining for 8 months. And the answer is probably, if history repeats. So either way, good stuff coming. Volatility is what we like. Volatility is how we win. In addition, this is from Kim Young-Jun from CryptoQuant. He talks about how the sell walls are now very, very weak. The buy walls are incoming, and there's a lot of people short at the 67,000 level. If we spike through 67K with a big, big bang, a lot of shorts will be liquidated. That will force them to cover and, of course, spike the price even more. Very few people are selling right now. We haven't seen the strong buy walls yet, but they can arrive literally in 24 hours when required. So we should see. Watch this carefully. Also, regarding the miners are doing very well over the past couple of days, the past 3 days. Thank you so much. But now we can see this. This is the Bitcoin hash ribbon. And a new hash ribbon has formed due to an overall slowdown in network hash rate difficulty over the past couple of months. Why is that? We had record hash growing and all of a sudden it slowed down. So for those who may be unfamiliar with hash ribbons, these occur when the 30-day average of hash rate crosses below the 60-day moving average. And this signals a capitulation of the least efficient Bitcoin miners on the network. So basically, you've got all your miners that have a lot of old rigs, the cores, the huts, etc. They are now being forced to turn them off. And that means the hash rate's dropping. And that means those with the most efficient and effective rigs now, with all the modern rigs that bought them during the bear, are going to make bank. So this is why the winning miners are rebounding. The Irises, the Clean Sparks, etc. Huge days yesterday. 35% plus over the last 3 trading days and a lot more to go. So again, risk happens fast and we're seeing that with the miners. Let's talk more about the new chief marketing officer of Bitcoin. His name is Larry Fink. He had I think his annual meeting or something, and he spoke about this from bar chart. And I know there's a lot of confusion about exactly what he said, but he believes potentially, maybe, Bitcoin will become as big as the entire US housing market, says Blackrock CEO. He also referenced the mortgage market of 11 trillion. The housing market is 50 trillion in the US. If this happens, housing market alone, not saying it will, and there's no time frame for it, but if it were to happen, that would be a $3.25 million Bitcoin at 50 trillion. If it were to go to the size of the mortgage market in the US, which is about 11 or 12 trillion, call that a 10x from here, that would put Bitcoin at $670,000. Either way, he is mapping real estate to Bitcoin. What is real estate? Real estate's a store of value. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin's a store of value. That's how he's seeing things. And I can appreciate his logic. So let's go, Larry. And the Finkster also stacked a ton of Bitcoin over the last few weeks as well. It is quite incredible. Soon, I reckon BlackRock alone will have 1 million Bitcoin in their bags. So we'll see. Next, Bitcoin still had a very good week versus the altcoins. Angle Blackson, thank you for coming as well. And once again, thank you to our mods in the chat and everybody out there. But you can see here the Bitcoin altcoin season index is at 27, which means Bitcoin is still winning. Let's look at the breakdown of what that looks like. Bitcoin again up 5.1% for the last 90 days. So it really hasn't gone anywhere. The summer doldrums over there. But now we're in Q4. Now we're in October. I shout out to Chewy as well. I did mention in a video, it was in OCTA, I think, about 2 weeks ago. I said, we don't normally get October until the 12th day or so of October. And now we're at the 15th. And guess what happened over the past 3 days? So it did kick off on the 12th. We'll see if that trend continues. And again, we are up for the month, which is awesome. So let's keep it up. Anyhow, you can see the winner here for the last 90 days is Sui. Crushed it. Tau number 2, which is an AI play, etc. Down on the right, I do want to point out the dead coins from the past. Polkadot, Cosmos, and Paul. Paul is what we used to know as Matic. And I did say, when a chain rebrands, it's a sign of desperation. Look at all the old chains that change their name to something like, I won't mention them because the hate's not worth it. But anyway, rebranding is a sign of desperation. When you see something rebrand, it means something's broken. So Matic, Pole down 31% after the rebranding over the last 90 days. That kind of sucks. Anyway, layer 2s, you know my take on those. And Ethereum too. Also, AI spikes again. This is the top narratives of the past 30 days. AI tokens are up 49.9%, followed by data 33 and meme coins 30.8. As Mando said on DCA yesterday, memes are making a rebound. We'll show more data supporting that too. And Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of tied. So Ethereum had a very good last 30 days, rebounded a bit too off the lows. Now, let's look at money flow as well. Catch up on that. Last week, digital asset investment products saw inflows of 407 million, as investor decisions have likely been more influenced by the upcoming US election than by monetary policy outlooks, which are also good. So the election matters, and we're seeing big swings right now in how people are allocating based on the predicted outcome of the elections. And that's fascinating to watch as well. Let's see what the different assets have done this week. Bitcoin saw the lion's share of all that money, 419 million, come in. They were the primary beneficiary of the recent political shifts. In contrast, short Bitcoin investment products saw outflows of 6.3 million, which is also very bullish. And then we see XRP pulled in 1.1 million. Don't know who's investing in that thing. And Tron 200,000, Solana 600,000. Ethereum took a big dump, down 10 million. Month to date, down 35 million. But year to date is up a little bit too. So again, the ETFs have not saved the day for Ethereum. So for people hoping for an ETF to save their token, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Fundamentals matter. Speaking of Solana Foundation met with Dubai's Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, Varu Dubai, and they hosted a roundtable. And this had 50 funds, executives, and founders from around the world to share views on how we can usher in progressive regulatory regime for blockchain startups. Okay, the fact that Solana is at this table with all this money and all this regulators to build a framework for spending money and building is quite profound. And this in turn will drive the money flow as well into this asset in the very near term. Let's talk about Solana for a second. It is still the black hole. Let's see. This is from Gumshoe. On-chain volume, Solana is the leading blockchain in weekly DEX volume with just over nearly $10 billion, $9.5 billion, let's call it. ETH is 8.9 billion, Base 5.6, Binance 5.5. There was a time when Ethereum was number one by far, Binance number two, Arbitrum number three. Everything has changed. Everything is being sucked into the chain that has the best user experience and the lowest fees. And as Mert would say, the manlets are trading heavily, very heavily, including myself as well. Anyway, Jupiter dominance is also kind of, this is stories a lot about dominance today. Jupiter is at 30.42% of dominance, 1H 14.68%, etc., and others down the line. But this is incredible how Jupiter continues to dominate all other chain aggregators for the fourth consecutive week, despite being solely on Solana. Can you imagine if this thing goes multi-chain? That would really shake things up. Now, there's more stuff happening as well with Jupiter. Jupiter is under consideration for the next fund from Grayscale. Not that I'm a big fan of Grayscale funds, but when they do start one and they include certain assets, the asset tends to pop a great deal. We saw that with Tau and their AI fund over the past couple of weeks. But Jupiter is now on the list of assets under consideration for inclusion in future investment products. Shout out to DGen News for this as well. Other names include Ethena, which I think will just rain down tokens forever. We'll talk about them in a second. Injective Protocol, and I still have a little bag of that. Pendle, Thorchain, etc. So interesting list of names. But if they look at where the money is going, Jupiter should be top of the list. Also, retail investors are checking out memes again. Again, shout out to Mando. This is Google search volume for meme coins. And it's the highest level it's been since June of this year. So again, I don't do meme coins. I just share data. But a lot of retail investors feel that they may have missed the boat in other assets. And unfortunately, they're going to YOLO into meme coins, but just understand how they are structured and how they are designed, and you will get dumped on. If you're getting into them, get in, get out fast. Take profits with ruthless efficiency. Do not hold any bag in these assets. And Ethena, speaking of Ethena again, Ethena is looking to bring Sol onto their synthetic mix. So Ethena Labs has proposed to the USDE, E for Ethena, it's their stablecoin, a community that Sol will be added to its mix of collateral. And USDE is unique as it maintains that one peg with hedged trades and risk managed reserves. But as you know, with synthetic things, it's only a matter of time before they go pop. Again, don't be holding the bag. Beware. Be very aware, especially if the market turns down. The synthetic breaks real fast. Also, VanEck, speaking of money and everything else, global asset manager VanEck has launched an adventure unit and hired former Circle Ventures leaders to head the unit. It's raising $30 million for its first fund, which will invest in crypto companies that are at the intersection of fintech and AI. That'll be interesting to watch. Again, probably a fund just for those big accredited investors, but VanEck are doing some very, very good stuff in the space, and they got very good analysis as well. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about stonks for a second, although we did talk about Metaplanet. Stock market last week, Tesla down on the sell the news event, down 10%. It is going to rebound, though. It always does after these events. Apple up 4%. Meta down 2%. Amazon up 1%. Nvidia down 0.6%, but Nvidia has rebounded back above 130, which is great to see. So again, things are not bad at all. And the S&P 500 is still breaking new all-time highs all the time. I think we've had a record 46 new all-time highs this year, which is stunning. So the strength and the momentum is incredible. Like I discussed before, rate cuts, talk of soft landing, a lot of money spending will float all boats. That's just how it works. Speaking of boats floating, Cybertruck is priced far higher than the competition, and it's ripping the incumbents. Shout out to Sawyer Merritt and Tesla Chan. I threw two little charts together, but basically the existing EV trucks got destroyed. Cybertruck is still in its baby stages of ramping. Okay, soon they'll be doing 50,000 a quarter. They're only doing 16,000 now, but all the others will kind of fade away. I was at a supercharger, and a Rivian R1T pulled up beside my Cybertruck, and he said, "Oh, I've got buyer's remorse. I should have waited." Anyhow, moving on. His point was charging and other crap. Didn't like it. Anyway, Cybertruck is the third best-selling EV in the USA too. Not just smashed all the incumbents, but the top 3 electric vehicles in the country are Model Y, Model 3, and Cybertruck. The breakdown of all this looks like this. Model Y still number 1, 87,000 sold in Q3. Nearly 60,000 Model 3s and nearly 17,000 Tesla Cybertrucks. Again, that'll go to 50,000 in short order, and they'll sell every single one they have. And the rest are kind of crumbs. And this fits my long statement of winner takes most. That's how it works. There's no such thing as two winners. Winner takes most. And they're far, far ahead. Also, another view of how Tesla are smoking the competition. There is no alternative. Like they're doing nearly 6 times what General Motors are doing, and the rest are shrinking away. I do forecast that Hyundai will overtake General Motors soon because GM don't know what they're doing. The Koreans do. So anyway, also the rate of change is very important. Q4 is always the best quarter for Tesla. You can see here a big jump between Q1 and Q2, 15%, and Q2 to Q3, 5%. I expect another maybe 10 or 15% for Q4, which will take sales north of 500,000 units. And that's all she wrote. China, by the way, is exploding. They went from 132,000 to 182,000 in just 2 quarters. And also, rate cuts will have a huge impact on the ability to move metal cell cars. And don't fade Elon, as I'm saying for years. Even the media is coming around. Elon Musk's SpaceX has achieved something extraordinary. This is the point I just want to mention here. If SpaceX can land and reuse the most powerful rocket ever made, remember, this is a 450-foot rocket that weighs 250,000 tons or something crazy, or 250,000 tons, a massive, very heavy thing. I can't remember the exact numbers. But the most powerful rocket ever made, what can't it do? Next, they're going to use that rocket to put these very large satellites into space that will give the planet global internet access. And then stitch that somehow to your terrestrial cell phones, and that's it. Uncensored internet. And as we go into the future, things like having an uncensored something will become very important. Mark my words here too. Now, what does this look like? Shout out to Sawyer Merritt. This is SpaceX and how they dominate. Again, third topic of domination, or fourth at this stage. But it's the key to being multiplanetary. The cost of launch to low Earth orbit is now $200 with Starship. All the other space people are like around $13,000 or $50,000. Space Shuttle was like $75,000. Again, now the cost to put a kilogram in space, a kilo, a key, I wonder what could be measured in keys. Anyhow, but it's designed to achieve that 1,000x improvement over existing systems. And after yesterday's booster catch and precise landing of the ship in the ocean, people are now convinced it can work, i.e., Elon could get to Mars. This was the key piece of the puzzle that he wasn't even sure he could pull off, but he did. And something really strange happened as well. The media is turning around from normally a ton of hatred for Elon Musk and SpaceX, etc. This was kind of mind-blowing, where all the media all of a sudden said, oh my God, well, we have to give him some credit. So completes 5th test flight, lands booster, dramatic catch, catches returning booster, launch and a catch, booster back at launch pad, Mechazilla arms makes history, yada. I mean, it was very impressive to see the media turning, and now, I guess if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. So they're supporting. So with that, everybody, hope you enjoy the show. All these videos are turned into podcasts and Substack newsletters with all the slides and the details that you need in case you prefer to read, to make sure you don't miss out on anything. Hit the like and subscribe. Dog one, thank you for coming. Everybody have a great day. Let me check on the Bitcoin price. Forgot to do that. Ooh, darn. Hold a second. One day, I want to see if we did. We hit 67,200 exactly, I guess. 67,014 at 9:59. That was 17 minutes ago. So yes, we did hit it on the stream. But then it rebounds back because remember there's big liquidation levels there. And also there's a lot of sell pressure there too. So once we break through that 67K, we'll be at 70K in no time. The question is it going to happen before November 5th? We don't know. Either way, it's a fun time, and Q4 will be bonkers. Thank you all for coming, everybody. Thanks again to the mods and chats and everybody for coming. Have a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow.